Hello, greetings, and welcome back to the BFC, where we go into the trenches of the trading world, DD from the source. And I wouldn't have it any other way. We have an awesome show planned. And if you're watching on X and want to ask a question, head over to YouTube and pop it in the chat. To my Discord members, we will be convening after the show at 2 p.m. So make sure you are there. It's going to be fun. But as for the next hour, we are dedicating our due diligence to artificial intelligence technology solutions, ticker AITX, a company that is no stranger to the fireside. The BFC wants to give a very big entrance, so crank up that volume and welcome the CEO of AITX, Steve Reinharz.
Yo, it's Steve Reinharz, the name you gotta know. Pioneering AI, watch his empire grow. Rad Dog and Rad Cam, products on the rise. AI security, see the future in his eyes. Big contracts rolling in, cash flowing thick. AITX stock, that's his only pick. Expanding the footprint, making big waves. In the AI game, he's the one who paid. Steve Reinharz, he's the AI king. Rad Dog, Rad Cam, hear the future sing. Rad Dog, Rad stock, it's the only thing. Revenues climbing, let the bell ring. Steve Reinharz, he's the AI king. Rad Dog, Rad Cam, hear the future sing. Rad Dog, Rad stock, it's the only thing. Revenues climbing, let the bell ring.
Firearm detection.
Started from the bottom, now he's breaking ceilings. AI solutions giving all the right feelings. Purity enhanced, no more sleepless nights. With Steve's innovations, everything's airtight. Clients line up, they know where to invest. AITX stock, it's simply the best. Tech revolution, Steve's leading the charge. In the AI industry, he's living large. And Steve Reinharz, he's the AI king. Rad Dog, Rad Cam, hear the future sing. Rad Dog, Rad stock, it's the only thing. Revenues climbing, let the bell ring. Steve Reinharz, leading with might. In the AI world, he's the guiding light. AI forever, innovation in sight. Watch him soar to the highest height. Word to your mother.
Steve, welcome to the BFC, man. How are you? And welcome, man. Great to have you.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Eric, thank you so much. You know, I want the audience to know, okay, AITX and myself did not commission that, did not ask for it, we had nothing to do with it. I heard the song. I love the song. The video is incredible. Eric, you and whomever you may have worked with, that was so fun. It was a little embarrassing, but so fun.
Well, you know what? I know when somebody puts a lot of pressure on you like that, like, hey, check this guy out. Well, you know what? I want to say thank you. I'm going to start off by saying thank you and thank you to the AITX community, the AITX Discord, for entrusting me to do these interviews with you. And, you've been a great guest, and we wanted to do something special to have you on the show. And welcome back to the fireside, man.
I appreciate that, Eric. We love doing it with you. And hey, we got a lot of stuff to get through, but Eric, I go to you for these things because you do a great job across the board. I've said it before, but you've got like pro level interview skills, quality, enthusiasm, and charisma. So happy to be here with you.
Thank you very much. Now I got to ask about this, Professor Reinharz.
Oh my goodness.
You recently did a presentation. So tell us about that presentation and where it was and what it was all about.
It was so fun. ASIS, which is the Association for American Security, I don't know, it's global now. They changed the acronym, but it's one of the two big organizations that kind of run, manage, collaborate with all security companies across the spectrum, from practitioners to manufacturers and everybody in between. And Mark Fulmer, our president, is like chairman of the North American board, and he sits on the ASIS board of directors. I sit on the SIA board of directors, so we're lucky to have these high positions for free. But part of it is because I get to go around and speak, and so Tampa I forget the name of their chapter, but they have a very active chapter. There are about 120, 130 security professionals for 2 days of lectures and discussion, which gets them continuing education credits that goes to the certifications. They probably have a PSP or a CPP, or there's a third designation that ASIS grants. So they have got to go to these things. And I went down because they asked me, and I was like, okay, whatever. At the time, I was like, sure, I'll go. Um, and uh, and I presented AIR. I presented autonomous intelligent response, which is basically what our talk track for the industry is going forward. So it's my first time giving this presentation / lecture, and I wore my glasses. And it was, you texted me right after I posted that photo. You're like, Steve, Professor Steve. I was like, I don't know about that, but I tell you, the team was eating out of my hand. They were like, wow, when I described autonomous intelligent response. It was great.
Wow, I'm glad it went very, very well for you, and you never stop. Trying to get a hold of you sometimes. I mean, you're always moving and grooving. On the 19th, I'm going to just cover. We're going to get guys. You submitted a lot of questions, and we're going to get to those. But I do want to touch base on the 3 most recent PRs that you guys had.
Sure.
Major stuff. So the first one you guys talked about, you announced significantly improved equity financing agreements. And in which that this agreement's going to be better because it's 95% of the lowest volume weighted average. So, I mean, that's important. So talk to us just a little bit about that.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been working on this for a pretty intense 9 weeks. So that's 9 weeks when, we were kind of S3 eligible because our market cap hit an intraday high over $75 million. And that triggers eligibility for an S3. And there's all these arcane SEC rules and so forth that I've gotten to learn over the years. So I was like, great, we hit it. And boom, immediately filed the S3. What this means is that it's kind of like an S1 is for, you kind of like if you're going to stack good money, okay, you start with a Reg D. Reg D is at the lowest level of good money. And I'm comparing it to bad convertible notes. And the problem with convertible notes, there's a lot of problems with convertible notes, and then sometimes they're a necessary evil. But the problem with convertible notes is that I've never seen a filing where the default conditions are listed in the filing. So what happens is it becomes opaque to investors. You can say, hey, I got $1 million note, great. And the terms are 8%, great. And the payback term is 6 months, great. Okay, and everyone's like, oh my God, you got some money, let's go sell some stuff, make some money, great, right? But depending on the status of where that company is in their life cycle, they might not be able to pay the $1 million back. So it goes into default, and everybody's thinking, okay, well, it's in default, interest will accrue. That's not what happens. It's never what happens. What happens is all of a sudden that $1 million can convert into $1 million worth of shares at 0001. And that's why people hate toxic dilution and toxic funding. It's opaque and it's incredibly toxic and destructive to the stock. So from there, but it's a necessary evil sometimes. If you're talking small numbers, you need it to get moving, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then you go to Reg D, which is clearer. The money's not as good, so you're still paying a high discount. From a Reg D, and this is how I look at it, this isn't official. I don't even know if there is anything official. Then you go to an S1, which is what we've lived on for years. And our S1 is really good through GHS. And what it does is it does a 9-day look back. And folks listening, listen, we got a lot of questions. You've submitted so many. We picked 24, 25. But hang on through this technical explanation, please. We'll get to other questions, but I want you to know how this works. So it's a 9-day look back under the S1, and they don't look at the daily VWAP, which is a weighted volume average price. What that basically does is that says, hey, if you had a trade at 003, it's not going to carry much weight in the average. If you had a trade at 008, not going to have much weight. You did most of your trading at 005, that's going to weight your average daily price. Okay. But what happens on an S1 is they don't do it off the VWAP. They do it off of the single lowest trade in that 9-day period. Which again, read the small print. So we were having to give up shares at 20% under the lowest trade of the previous 9 days. which was just expensive. And, I just think it cost us so much money. So now we get to do a look forward. We get to pay 5% commission instead of what could be 50, 60% on some days. And that, of course, gets us so much more money for the business at such a less cost to all of us. So that's why I'm excited about it. That's why I want to take the minute to explain it. That's why I think it's a huge deal. So yeah, that's sorry, Eric, if I went on too much.
No, I think that's a great answer. On the 16th, you guys had a very meaty PR. You talked about strong revenue growth, the
Yeah,
increase that you guys have had. You've talked about, I mean, let's start there. I mean, is this a trend that's going to continue?
I think so. I mean, obviously, I have some insight into Q2, which we're halfway through right now, or a little over halfway through. So, I think we're going to be. I think we're going to. I want to continue to post triple-digit results quarter over quarter or year over year. So, I think we're on track for that. Yeah.
That's excellent. And part of that same PR, the growth in gross profit, the increase quarter over quarter was substantial. So, any thoughts on that as well? I mean, that's
Yeah,
great, right?
yeah, gross profit. I expect this year, this fiscal year, to continue to be variable and swing. I don't expect stability in gross profit until next fiscal year. And the reason is that we're still kind of cleaning up miscellaneous bits and pieces. So there's still some inventory that's going to get written off this year from old Romeos and just projects that we started and shuttered and might not have finished writing off. So that'll go into cost of goods. There's just a bunch of different expenses like that. What we're trying to do this year is a few different things. We're trying to clean up all of our operations, use our ERP more, be even cleaner and more straight than we are now, and take some expenses. Take the hits now. Next year, next full calendar year, full fiscal year, I want to see if we can actually turn a real profit next year instead of just an operational profit. So it's very exciting. I don't pay too much attention to the gross profit this year, just because I know that there's crap that gets thrown in and depresses it or whatever. So there is a number for gross profit that we should start showing next fiscal year, quarter over quarter. And it's very close to very successful software companies' gross profit.
Excellent. I'm going to keep it going here. And from that same PR, you talked about the red thing, and I have a lot of questions about the red cam, by the way.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So, we're talking, and people just, they need to understand that you have a sales pipeline of over 35 Fortune 500 companies. That's very important. And that's crucial. Do you see this growing? Do you see your clientele growing? I mean, like, I know you're busting your hump and you're out there doing it every day, man. Do you see these bigger clients becoming more of a thing?
Oh, yeah, we do. Now, first of all, that line that you're referencing, we haven't changed in 4 or 5 years. So that number is actually very conservative. We haven't changed it because, number one, it's nice to err on the side of conservatism to some extent. The other thing is, it's just like I'm not in the business of taking every account and having sales. Hey, is it on the Fortune 500 list? Is it not? Is it this, right? So that's why I was like, okay, let the investor and fans and followers know that, hey, we've got big clients. We've got the biggest clients, and they're reordering, and they're telling their friends. So it is very exciting because of that. Yeah, but it's working with these guys. Like, I'll give you an example. There are 3 kind of Fortune 500 companies that are, I don't know if super fan is the right word for them, but they're very involved. They tell us what they want. We build it. It started with XPO back in the day. It's kind of really following this model of listening to our customers, bring our own innovation, listening, having these forward-looking discussions. So we've got 3 Fortune 500 customers that we're very close with in this way. And we're going to continue to listen to our customers and blend our own innovation with how we see the companies going, and then have these amazing clients input so we deliver what they want to.
That's excellent. I got to ask you about the rad cam, the rad thing. I know the AITX community is probably like, what? The rad thing, the rad cam. I am completely excited about. The BFC did. There she is. We applied for it to be a tester, a beta tester. So tell us about the RadCam. Where are we at in the process? When are we going to be deploying these things? And give us anything you can on RadCam.
I could give you a lot on RadCam because RadCam, I love RadCam. I love RadCam. So let's talk about RadCam. So first off, we have, we're going to end up with maybe 120, 130 beta testers. We're sitting at public beta testers. We're sitting at 150 on the list right now. These are down from the 350. So these have submitted, brought back their NDAs and answered the first set of questionnaires and been responsive and proven that they can be responsive, which is what we want. So as that process has been going on the public side, we have been like layering on resources internally. So internally, we got a great team assigned to it. And because of that, we're plowing through different elements of core functionality faster than I had expected. As a result, the minimum viable product standard, I've raised the standard on that, and this project's going to do more on launch than I thought it would. So I'm excited about that. There's more in RadCam. So beta testing program, to answer your question, mid-late August. You should expect the cameras mid-late August. And what our team did, like when I first asked for beta testers, I thought that we would have public beta testers work in lockstep with internal beta testers. Hey, there's a new feature, everybody run it, let's get feedback back to it, right? And I thought we would run in lockstep like that. Our internal testing team, because we have like 4 people on our QA QC team, and they're like, no, that's not how we want to do it. We want to have an internal testing program, bring the product up to a full beta, where it's like, hey, it pretty much works all the time now internally in our, heavy environment, lab environment. Now we send it out. Now let's start getting use case information back and feedback back. And that's what we're going to do. So that's why we pushed back the testing. We pushed back the testing a few weeks versus what I thought it was going to be a few weeks ago. At the same time, the manufacturer in China that we're using has been amazing. And they've given us, full control over every element of the camera, including over-the-air firmware updates. So I know end of last week, we sent our firmware that we wrote for the camera off to a third party to get it, I don't know if certified is the right word, but to get it reviewed for leaks and for any issues. And we'll do pen testing, we'll do penetration testing on the camera all along the way, which is just standard practice. But right now, with kind of heightened sensitivity over China, we want to be cognizant of that and make sure that, hey, every camera in your house is made in China right now. There's no question about it. We're saying ours is too, and ours has been thoroughly verified as not having issues. So, okay, so I got that, but there's more on RadCam, Eric.
But wait, there's more.
There's more, which is in September, I think I'm going to knock on some retail doors. I'm going to see about, and this is the big announcement, I think I'm going to see about getting it into retail. And, we're kind of toying with the first order of 10,000 units, but maybe we get lucky on some quick turn Christmas 2024 stuff. So yeah. I'm kind of leaning into it as I get more excited about the product. That's RadCam.
Wow, that would be amazing. Just to think I could go in a store and see your product. I think that'd be great. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be. I think residential is going to be huge.
Yeah, I think so too. I had approached it and I'm sorry to interrupt, but just to say, because we're so focused on these industrial commercial clients, with Rad Inc. And that's where my headspace has been. Hey, how do we get trucks in easier? How do I get security guards off of a job site and replace it with devices? How do I save enterprises money and provide better security? That's been our goal. So the Rad R was really like, driven by, investors, fans and followers. I said, okay, we're gonna take a good swing at it. Now that I'm in it, I'm like, I love this. Let's go bigger. So, and the numbers on it are spectacular.
Excellent. All right. I did want to bring up something else. I wanted to talk about Zero Now.
Sure. Yeah.
You guys are now a partner with Zero Now. Talk about this partnership. What do you have in the works, and why is this so significant? I really enjoyed hearing this because, well, I'm an educator of 16 years. And so I'm like, oh, this is good news. So talk a little bit about this partnership. Tell us what you guys are up to.
Really happy with Zero Now. They're a legit charitable organization that simply focuses on promoting the use of firearm detection in K through 12. Okay, that's their entire existence. The guy who founded it, or is a co-founder of it, also founded a company that specializes in firearm detection on regular cameras, competitor to us. But I give him so much credit for opening this up to other vendors and competitors like us in order, because a rising tide raises all boats. So what this does is this, number one, gives us additional credibility that, hey, our solution is amazing. Number two, that we have an altruistic approach to firearm detection in K through 12, that we feel that this is more than a money play, that we want to make money for sure, but that we also, want to break through just those commercial barriers and get the solution all over the place as fast as possible. So not everybody gets in. I'm proud that we got in. I support the group personally, and we support it corporately as well. But hopefully with groups like Zero Now that have industry type focused voices, we can start going to state legislatures and county legislatures, the organizations that, fund and control the board of supervisors for different school boards, and say, hey, now's the time. Let's go. We can't wait anymore. We can't wait for another thing. We have to do something. Let's do this.
Yeah. And adding in, the more security you have, the better. That's just a fact, especially when it comes to protecting our schools. I think that's absolutely crucial and important. And it's something that I want to see done across the board, all across the United States, across the world, because we should be avoiding some of the situations that we're in. So thank you for addressing that. And I'm excited to see where you go from there. So, all right, we have a ton of questions that you guys submitted, and let's get right into it. Let's get into the meat. Rob, why don't you just pop up those questions, and we're going to let Steve add it. All right. I'm a million shareholder. How many other million shareholders are there? Will we be in the NASDAQ in 2025?
Okay. T. Ward, thank you for the question. How many other million shareholders are there? I don't know at the moment. There's a report that I can pull. I last pulled it, I want to say 2 or 3 summers ago. It cost us $13,000. NOBO list. I pulled the NOBO list. I had to submit it to OTC for some reason or another. I forget why. But anyway, I pulled the NOBO list, and that NOBO list gives me the name of every shareholder and their holdings at a moment in time. And there's some caveats on who's included and who's not. From that list a few years ago, there were over 1,000. No, I don't remember. There were hundreds. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. But there are, like, I had pinpointed 75, the top 7,500 shareholders had substantial holdings. But I don't remember the breakdown of a million. I just remember 75 had over $5,000. 7,500 had over $5,000 invested. I think that was what the number was, something like that. The total universe of investors was over 100,000. But it's just, it's such a moment in time. People share, buy more, whatever, right? So I don't know if that's an answer. But that's what I got for you. Will be NASDAQ in 2025? No, unlikely. Well, I can't say no because there's few absolutes. Very unlikely NASDAQ in 2025. The plan for NASDAQ is 2026, as we stated in 2023.
Yeah, and you did mention that on the show last time you were on too. So thanks for that. All right. Can your gun detection be used in drones? Maybe get one in the Secret Service, detail for the Trump rallies.
I tell you. Well, I don't want to dwell on it too much, and I know a lot of people are really interested in it, but the bottom line is that wasn't a failure of technology. That was a failure of people and process. And sure, the technology could go into drones. For sure it can. It goes into our ground-based drones, Rad Dog and Romeo. The answer is yes, but it wouldn't have helped. I would certainly like to see protection details using this type of technology to supplement the human side for sure. And the reason is this. If I'm in uniform, I'm looking around, I'm scanning the crowd, I'm doing all this, right? I can still only see one point at a time. I'm still limited. Of course, the camera sees everything all the time. So I would really hope that they add some of this. And you put it on a Rio, you drive up a couple Rios, you drop them off, boom, you got an extra layer for pennies. Do it.
Hmm. Yeah. Excellent. Let's keep it going here. Great questions, by the way. With the growth in quarter one of 2024, what is your outlook of the rest of the year in regards to continued valuation, exceeding projection, stable, etc.? Yeah. So, what are your thoughts going forward?
So I think the question mixes two elements. When I see what is your outlook on the rest of the year, I read that as being financial performance related. And then when it says in regards to continued valuation, I see that as market related. So from a financial performance valuation, I see a continuation of gains in revenue throughout the year for sure. Okay. We're on track to have, another exponential year of revenue increase. And we have a really strong target for what we want our RMR to be at the end of our year, which is February 2025. And that, of course, is $1 million a month in recurring revenue. Now, that is a stretch goal. It is in sight. We have a path to get there. Will we get there? Only time will tell. Nobody can guess. Only time will tell. So if we hit that, if we even hit $800,000 and became a $10 million plus ARR
Yeah.
company, boom. So I love that. That's where we're at on performance side. Sorry.
That's what I was gonna say. Even if you don't reach that by like 100,000 or 200,000, you're still putting up great revenues there. So aim high, man. Seriously.
Exactly. Set the bar high. And we've got plans, to really kind of lean into that Doug and I are working on every moment. As far as, the valuation of the company and the market cap, hey, that's, as you know, that's in your hands. You buy, sell, trade. You set the market cap.
Yeah. Next question. What is the status of AITX rad patents?
No new work since my announcements at the end of last year. And normally, if I had said there's a project and there's no progress on it, I might feel some shame. I might apologize for it, but I won't, and I don't, because we're doing so many other great things right now. And the reality is pulling aside, $100,000, $200,000 to file a bunch of patents. Right, I guess other things to do with that money right now. Really, what I want to do, and it's on schedule more for next year, is to hire an internal IP attorney or general counsel and be working on those things. Now, of course, by then, some of our patent rights will run out, and we will likely have a smaller profile of patents that we can file. But as I've discussed on this show and other places, software patents are as good as freaking useless, and hardware patents aren't far behind. However, when we do hit NASDAQ, as I've said before, I want to have a library and a stable of patents, just because some old school folks think it's cool and you should have it. That's it.
And you've been consistent on that since the first show. So I will say that is
And let me share why.
consistent and honest. So
Yeah, let me show you why. I can file a patent. Okay. You can copy the exact same thing. You could take my patent and create what I just created, right? Then what do I have to do? I gotta hire an attorney. I gotta spend $25,000 just to file a suit. You can spend $5,000, make me spend another 50. It goes on and on and on. Defensive patents is where they get you. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Thanks, Eric.
absolutely. Absolutely. With operational profitability around the corner, is there a plan to alter the funding of business operations?
Absolutely. Yeah. So with operational profitability around the corner, yes, it is around the corner. Which corner? Anyone's, obviously I have an idea, but I'm seeing the corner. I'm running to the corner as fast as we can. When we hit that corner, you'll know. We are already starting to alter our business financing, as evidenced by the S3. Now, we have, which I don't know has been announced, but I have a multi-million-dollar line of credit at maybe 10% interest, which allows me to fund inventory to build. And it's very common, and I get calls almost on a weekly basis from different companies, from Wall Street to local banks, saying, hey, we can fund your inventory purchases for your orders in hand. So it's very common in business once you get to that point. The beauty of that is it's relatively low interest compared to anything else that we would get, and there's no dilution attached on it. So that is in hand. We've actually done 2 draws on it. I think we owe $700,000 on that line right now. And that will be a greater source of funding as we go. Now, I am limiting the amount of money that we draw on those lines because it impacts our operational profitability. So the idea is to get operational profitable, then start using that, start paying off debt, and off we go. But yeah, it should change. I can tell you it's changing already. It's changing already.
All right. Excellent. Let's keep it going here. Is there a plan to shift that to either self-funded or third-party debt financing instead of ongoing share issuance? Or are we needing to reach a higher level of profitability for that shift to occur?
I mean, the question itself has, some elements that would require a specific answer, but there's not specific elements in the question itself. So, needing to reach a higher level of profitability for the shift, it's I can't really answer it. I mean, the answer, I think that the best answer I could give is that dilution will stop at one point in the future. That's the answer that we're looking for.
All right. All right. Let's keep it going here. When will your company be able to list on the NASDAQ?
Listen, I mean, technically speaking, we can list on the NASDAQ tomorrow if we wanted to, or we can at least start the process tomorrow. So I get multiple offers from companies to take us to NASDAQ, and I say no because I want to do it the right way. And you've heard me say it, I've said it before, but everybody should know we want to list with NASDAQ with continuously increasing sales, with much less debt, and with cash in the bank. And there's a reason why we want to do that. We want to do that because if we don't, then I have to take a crappy deal. And if I take a crappy deal, then the stock is most likely going to get crap kicked out of it on uplist. I don't want that. I tell people I want this stock to go skyrocket on NASDAQ. And this is where the AITX community comes in so handy because you guys are out there. So when we start talking about the NASDAQ stuff and when we start making our filings and make it official, and it's coming, right? Because everything always has a filing before or immediately at the time, then, our word of mouth should really skyrocket. The marketing that I'll do to the brokers, dealers will kick in. And I want to really be a darling of whatever particular year of 2026, if that's the year we go up. There's a big difference between NASDAQ and OTC, of course. And there's many differences. I'm going to share 2. One is that OTC companies that trade, dealer brokers that trade are not allowed to recommend OTC companies. It's the rules. You can call your broker can say, I think you should buy NVIDIA. Your broker can't say, I think you should buy AITX. Not because he doesn't believe in AITX, but because we're on the OTC. That's one big thing. And the second big thing is a collection of elements of being on NASDAQ: greater liquidity, inclusion in index funds, analyst coverage, whole nother world. Which again is why it's so important that we uplist properly.
Yeah. You don't want to limp into the NASDAQ.
Yeah, we don't want to get destroyed, right?
Yeah.
One last thing, and Eric, I know I'm talking, and I hopefully everyone's following along and it's interesting. I should look at some comments, but those NASDAQ deals that I keep saying that we get offered. Okay, I have the proof because I have the paperwork, but they often have at least one warrant attached to every share, which basically means that, let's say you're uplisting at $10, you 100 million shares or whatever your float's going to be at the time. Well, you've given away 100 million shares for free as well. And that's why there's not a whole lot of successful IPOs right now. Companies uplist too quickly. They don't get their house in order first. We will not make that mistake if we can help it.
Right on. All right, let's get to the next question here. You guys did submit a lot of questions, and I'm going to get to the chat. And when we're done with these ones that were submitted ahead of time, as a shareholder, I appreciate the tremendous job you are doing leading the AITX team. I would like to know if we are going to see a reverse split, and if we do, how bad will the ratio be?
Well, I thank you for the question. I share any credit that you think I should get for leading the AITX team. I absolutely share with the AITX team, everyone who works, including the leadership team that we have at AITX. We've got a fantastic team. So Thank you for that. Well, we're not going to see a reverse split for the rest of this year. That's for sure. Everybody knows that that's restricted. Um, the thing about a reverse split, everyone gets so frantic about it, and they should. Okay? And they should, because reverse splits are used for a couple of purposes. One of them is, hey, we got some money, we sold some stock, we've now run out of money. Company didn't work, product had cost overruns, made some mistakes, money went bye-bye, whatever. We got to do a reverse split so we can replenish the coffers and give it another go, right? That's the technical reason why our reverses have been devastating to customers. Effectively, it resets failed businesses. Now, sometimes that's used nefariously by different people who don't have an intention on bringing a good business to market. And that's where it gets abused. And that's why it has such a bad reputation. But if a reverse split reverses, and this answers the question, reverses the authorized at the same ratio as the outstanding, then there is no effect. And I mean that there is no effect. When a reverse happens on just the outstanding, it clears authorized to be sold and hammered. The reverse hits both at the same rate, nothing changes. So I can't say what we're going to do or when we're going to do it or if we're going to do it. But I can say that those are some of the things that are in my mind.
Yeah. And, and let's be honest, if you get extremely profitable, if things are growing with the business, let's say you hit it big with the retail. I mean, you're in so many different areas in regards to sales. I mean, I see it. I mean, AI is not going away. Security is not going away. The compounding annual growth rate is huge. The biggest one is for the AI industry. So I don't know, personally saying that's the industry that I'm looking to invest in the most in, but that's coming from me. That's not coming from Steve. It's not financial advice. But let's keep going here. Hi, Steve. How's the Bailey gift to schools going? Any idea how schools using them, Phil?
It's going poorly. There's no other way for me to say it. It's going poorly. We wanted to give away 10 Rosas. I think we gave away 2. Then we wanted to give away 5 Ross systems. I know we gave away none. It's the same problem, which is why we joined Zero Eyes. And, Eric, you and I have had side conversations about this, how supervisors and principals generally don't want to acknowledge that there's a problem. And if there is no problem, then there's nothing to fix. And that is absolutely the overall sentiment in education across America. You've got concerned parents and staff members, and you have management and supervision that just don't give it any credibility. So hopefully with Zero Now, and the plans that we have there, we can correct that. But no, Bailey's gift, Bailey Holt, victim from Kentucky several years ago. She's near and dear to our hearts, as is her mother and her sister and her father. And I really hope to be in a position to honor her and their contributions and her mother Secret's commitment to bring these solutions by giving those away. We will. We're not pulling them off the table. We'll give them to disadvantaged, underfunded districts when we can.
Yeah, and they are out there. I mean, there are so many districts that are underfunded. It blows my mind, that all the money we spend elsewhere and, our own schools, we're not funding properly. So there's a way to do it, but they have to address the issue. They have to acknowledge the problems in order to fix it. And personally, I see it firsthand. Luckily, for the record, anybody from my workplace, I love my district and they spend a lot of money on us. They have great security and I'm very happy there. But that's not, it's a great situation to be in for me personally, but that's not the position that most teachers and students and families are in. That's just the fact. Let's get to the next question. The cost of goods sold year over year jumped 27x. Why? And is this the start of a trend moving forward, with each year seeing a big jump in COGS, or was this a one-time deal?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think we had an earlier question that danced around the same thing. Not paying too much attention to cost of goods sold. I expect some volatility in that throughout the course of this year, and really kind of focusing next year on on showing, steadily improving or consistent cost of goods sold.
Hmm.
That gives gross profit between, I mean, really, our gross profit targets are pretty high, 85%. Gross profit is really what we're targeting for. So that's the standard that I hold myself to. But the internal variations this year, I'm not paying attention to. We're straightening stuff out.
I want to follow up with that with the RADCAM cost of goods sold. The amount of money that's going to be put into developing these and getting these out there. Do you see that as retaining a high profitability margin? Do you see that happening?
Yeah, outrageously high. So,
Wow.
which is one of the reasons that excites me. Like tech excites me, but profits excite me. So profits fuel the world. So, really, when you look at RADCAM, and this is what opened up the retail discussion. And what opened up the retail discussion was basically like we could give the units away at cost, which opened up margin for retail and be incredibly happy on the recurring monthly revenue. And so when that kind of crossed my mind and I ran some numbers, I was like, hey, let's do retail. I can give 35, 40% away to retail, still be okay on the sale. So still not sell it at a loss because retail buys bulk.
Hmm.
And then we make a lot of money on the recurring, which I haven't priced yet. So that's a whole nother discussion.
Hmm.
But I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I expect to receive, I hope to receive all the cash that we've spent on RADCAM that we're going to spend on RADCAM this year. The products, like, the multiple orders that we've done, all of our labor, our other testing, miscellaneous costs, boom, the certifications, all that stuff. I see us being able to recover all of that cash this fiscal year. And accounting lets you do different things to spread cost out over years. So I can technically show a profit on RADCAM this year, even though I spent more cash than we may have collected.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is I think that we can collect more cash than we spent in total, make the product quite the hit. So that's one of the things that motivates me. I love these challenges. But the cost of goods on RADCAM is super low and the profitability is super high.
Excellent. That's great. All right. How aggressive is the residential offering is going to be? I'm a simple, safe customer at present. How will you differentiate from the status quo companies? Use this as sliver of your research and development budget.
Sure. Great question. Well, we're getting more aggressive. At least I'm thinking of getting more aggressive in residential offerings because I'm getting more excited about RADCAM. So, are we going to do alarms? No. Um, I mean, I don't think we will. It's possible. You never know. Right now, we're going to focus on RADCAM. We're going to focus on getting RADCAM into as many people's hands. In the next couple of months, I'm going to start working on the next version of RADCAM. So we're going to lean into it a little bit for sure. We differentiate by use of AI, by use of real AI, which I don't want to release yet, but I will release when the time is right, and our beta testers will know, even though they're under NDA. So it's a huge differentiation, which is why I'm excited about it. Is this a sliver of our R&D budget? Right now, basically it uses AIR, which is what we've termed our autonomous intelligent response. So we're taking AIR and putting it into RADCAM, into ROSA, into so forth. So AIR is AITX, and then it's available to all the subsidiaries, including RAD-R. So it is a part of our R&D project budget. We haven't put new funds. We haven't hired anybody new for RADCAM. We've just been using existing resources because there's duplication on all the code.
All right. Let's keep her going. Are you going to concentrate on getting profitable? It feels like you are rushing too many projects while having no income to fund them. Thanks, Steve.
I like the question. I'll take issue with having no income to fund them because that is clearly incorrect. But I do like I do like whoever asked this question because, hey, I have no problem with it, except the no income part. I feel that we are in a land grab. Okay, it's like 1878 in Oklahoma. Okay, and you got the Sooners and the other ones. You got to go rush out at dawn and go grab your land. That's how I feel. That's what we are doing. That's where we're at. The fourth industrial revolution right now. It is a race. Now, we aren't VC funded and we're not PE funded. We're retail funded. We're Main Street funded. And this is why I have such a relationship with everybody, because I can say, hey guys, this is the plan. This is where we're at. I could turn around tomorrow. I could literally turn around tomorrow, make cuts to AITX, heck, even pull us off of OTC, slash costs, and we could be fully profitable. We could be fully profitable, pay all of our bills, pay our debt, whatever. If nice $5-10 million a year company, okay, whatever. I'm not in it for that. I did not make the sacrifices. I did not lead our team through fire to get to this point for that. So our plan is always subject to change. And if I see opportunity that fits our overall strategic goals and has to be done for defensive or offensive purposes, I am going to see how we can lean into that. Are you going to concentrate on getting profitable? I am concentrating on getting profitable. You know, we kind of have a bit of an edict inside the company right now of no hiring past the 100-person mark that we're at right now. So we're sticking to that. I feel I'm rushing too many projects. I would take issue with that. I would say that we're aggressive and our team works really hard. But we go from, RadDog 3S to RadDog 2LE. A lot of that code goes into Romeo. I've got folks working on Romeo to accelerate the development, right? Which we'll share later. So we try to be as smart as possible along the way, not recreate the wheel. RadCam, hey, it's a camera using code that we're going to use in Gen 4. There's a lot of duplication. So I'm picking projects to lean into that have a lot of use across the board. It's like one code for autonomy, 2 uses, RadCam, Romeo. One code for air, uses in all the projects. So, but yeah, I want to present that we're building a lot of products because I want to be the incumbent in this space that I feel we're creating. Just to remind everybody, this space is using machines that are autonomously enabled to perform human work at a fraction of the cost. Great question. Thank you.
All right, let's keep her on. All right, is your gun detection technology compatible to work with other security cameras already installed at these places? Thank you for your hard work and dedication to making these places safer.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. It is, and it's done through our software solution called ROS, which is the RadSoc operating security system or something like that. So yeah, it is. Yeah, short answer.
All
We're
right.
using it at 2 facilities across the country right now, and it's working great.
Good, and that gives other options for sales too. You know what I mean? So you could serve more clients like that, I would
The
think.
interesting thing about it is we price it so low, there's not a lot of profit in it. So like from a sales standpoint, like sales folks don't want to sell stuff that's not gonna, drive the bottom line. So it's this paradox of, hey, I want to get fat everywhere, but who's gonna push it? Because the guys who push stuff need to make money and they don't make much money off fat.
Mm-hmm. Is your supply chain from overseas, or do you also source from American and Canadian suppliers? If your main source of supplies is unavailable, do you have backup suppliers available on short notice? That's a great question.
So, and I'll read between the lines being, China, and first off, nobody on this call or in the world should be under any illusion that China is not the manufacturing capital of the world. Okay, it's just how it is. Target's going to close down. Walmart's going to close down if we don't have China, like right off the bat. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But and it's not like we favor towards China in particular. We favor towards good suppliers with the right prices. And we have American vendors, Canadian vendors, European vendors, Chinese vendors. We try to build relationships with competing manufacturers in order to have redundancy. I'll take steel, for example. What happens though is that like for the Rio steel, we started with an American manufacturer Then we went to China. The American manufacturer was good, but expensive. So we went to China. It was inexpensive and terrible. So we went to Canada. And in Canada, we had two vendors making the steel for us. But what happened was one kind of started getting better. One was less expensive, faster, more communicative. So we start concentrating our efforts, and you're left with one. That's just kind of natural what happens, and you build a strong relationship with your vendors. And that's what we do. So we weathered the the manufacturing nightmare that was COVID, and we are working actively to find non-Chinese sources. But the reality is it's incredibly difficult.
Thanks for answering that question. Excellent question. All right. What is your turnaround time from placing an order to receiving an order on big ticket items?
Yeah, I mean, it could be as quick as 2 days, could be as long as 2 months. There's a variety of factors. Where are we at in a particular manufacturing run? Where are we at in transition from Gen 3 to Gen 4? What's the product? Are the product TOMs or are they Rio 360s? Is there some break in the manufacturing that we haven't discussed, right? So it's completely variable. I can tell you our goal is to have units stocked and ready to go within 2 days. That is our goal. We're not there.
All right. By the way, guys, we have 608 people watching across all the platforms. Show some love and click that like button and follow the BFC, follow Steve, follow AITX, and stay up to speed on all the developments that they're bringing your way. Next question. I suffer from anxiety and I've been looking for cameras for my house. I would love to be one of your beta testers. Is there any way I can get on the list for that?
No. Beta testing program. I'm sorry about your anxiety. I ask you to keep an eye on what we're doing and to do whatever it is you have to do to work through that. Thank you for sharing. But the beta testing program is closed.
All right. And the BFC did apply for that, so I'm excited to see if we
Eric, I told you, number 25 on the list. So
we are 25. That's great. I'm excited. I'm very excited. And anybody that follows this channel knows I love doing product reviews of companies. It's something I like to do. It makes it real. So, are the terms with AIV with this last prospectus more favorable than the terms GHS gave you for financing?
They certainly are. And I'm not going to review how they're favorable because I talked about that upfront at length, and that was a monologue nobody wants to hear again. But what I will share is that GHS holds a minority position in AIV. And AIV has been the actual broker-dealer that trades AITX stock. And they do a great, great, great job. This is one of the reasons why this process took so long, because I had a lot of good offers, and I chose for all of our sakes to kind of stick with the folks that have been with us for years and have done a good job with us for years, and I trust. And that's why I stuck with the GHS AIV group. Yeah. And listen to the beginning of the podcast for the terms in the description.
Yep. Yeah, you did. You explained in great detail there. So thanks for doing that. Hit the rewind button, folks. What is the RMR amount associated with the retail RADCAM?
Oh, I love this question. So I told you I was in Tampa on Thursday giving the presentation of AIR to these industry professionals. And I used RADCAM as an example of the uses of AIR. And it was such a great group, very interactive group. And so they asked me the pricing, and I said, well, it's going to be $99 retail. And the monthly is going to be, I haven't said it yet, $19.99, $29.99. I said, I don't know. And I was like, what do you think the pricing should be at? And the guy said, I thought you'd be coming at $99.99 a month. And I was like, yes. I was like, I built the value up. We're this high value in perception, this cost, that means you're selling a lot. What I will do, based on that, I decided that our beta testers, our public beta testers like yourself, Eric, I will be probing extensively your thought process on where we should be on the monthly recurring.
Good. I'm excited. What happened to Romeo, Scott, and Wally?
Let's start with Scott. Scott is dead. Scott has died. I think there's
God rest
one
his soul.
deployed still. It has been chugging away, making us like $1,000 a month for years now. I love that Scott. It's deployed out in California. Love it, right? Other than that, Scott is dead. Uh, we stuck it in Gen 1, which was difficult from a technology standpoint. Tech didn't really trim out till Gen 3. And, you know, you have to pivot. There's this weird balance as a CEO of saying, hey, when do you stop being persistent, right? Because persistency wins. And when do you pivot? Nobody has these answers. So Scott got us started. Scott got us in conversations with customers. Scott got us dealer base. Scott proved out that we're on the right track. And Scott evolved into Wally. Wally was just a derivative of Scott. Wally has since evolved. Wally's dead. There's probably 10 working still around the world because we have a few in Europe. But Wally has evolved into Tom and Ava. So the concepts of Wally live on, and Scott, you could say, lives on through Rosa. A Romeo is in hardcore development. On some of the weeklies and some of my tweets, I've been showing some of the autonomy development, which is developing. So you'll see the next iteration of Romeo this calendar year. Romeo very much alive.
All right. It's good to know. Very good to know. Great answer. General and administrative expense alone is over $900,000 per month, and including other expenses is close to $1.5 million. With headcount increasing, is $700,000 still realistic? Still a realistic number for operational cash flow?
Well, I mean, loaded into that 900,000 are a lot of other charges. Like being public, right? Being public costs us about $500,000 a year, and when you're looking at first quarter results, oftentimes those expenses are incurred in the first quarter for the previous year's K, which is about $250,000. So there's also debt payments, and there's expenses related to AIT interest expenses that are quite heavy that build up that number. So I mean, I'm still saying focus on $700,000 for sure. I think that'll be a huge milestone for us. I think every $100,000 is a huge milestone for us. I definitely ask that people stay focused on it because I've brought attention to it. But at the same time, walk with me on the bigger picture. Walk with me on the bigger picture of being a bigger company that's doing great things. And these days we'll look back at, I hope we look back at, oh, we had 700,000, oh, we had 800,000, oh, we had 600, whatever. Look at us now, we're XYZ. So that's the perspective that I look at it in. And I look at the 700, but I also look at the bigger picture.
Okay. Yes. All right. I'm just reading some of the chats, by the way, guys. There's some funny comments in there too. Good comments, good questions too. We're going to pull some of those. With the imminent release of the Gen 4 devices, is there any impact for the Gen 3 devices already in the field? That is, our existing customers requiring upgrades, and if so, what is the financial impact?
Great question. Great.
That is a good question.
Deep question. I like it. Well, it's something that I do worry about a little bit. And we've tried to mitigate by doing a couple of things. Number one, Gen 4 is more expensive than Gen 3. So there's a financial disincentive for people to upgrade. That's number one. Number two is Gen 3 works great all around the country, all around the continent, rather. So there might not necessarily be a need for people to spend the extra money and swap out their devices if Gen 3 is already performing well for them. What I think Gen 4 does for us is it allows us to return to those existing customers and say, hey, you've been a customer for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. This is great. Look where we're at now. Now I know that we're going to be able to solve more problems in more places because of the additional capability. Let's keep growing together. So I see additional sales opportunities to existing customers from it. We won't be switching out Gen 3 devices actively for Gen 4 devices for anybody in the near term. What I do see at some point in the next couple of years is I see Gen 3 devices having lower prices. the Gen 4 devices having higher prices and customers having a choice. There's locations where customers just need Gen 3, but I do want to get 5-6 years use out of those Gen 3 prices, and I don't see any reason why we won't.
Okay, good answer. Very good answer. Will you pledge to not do a reverse stock split until the stock price is above a few cents? Otherwise, most of the long-term guys will be wiped out. I personally have over $300,000 invested.
Thank you for your trust in AITX to make that investment. It's not a promise that I can make. And the reason is that these are elements that aren't in my control, specifically the stock price is not in my control. If we had the stock price over a few cents, it would probably be a very different conversation. You know, if we were raising money off of greater volume and greater stock price, it would be a much different conversation. But sub penny, it is what it is. Again, please rewind back to the reverse split side and take what you will from it. And by the way, long-term guys getting wiped out, that's what I'm saying. That's what happens if you just reverse the outstanding and you leave a giant authorized in place. And my long-term guys, I have a relationship with, right? You guys are the best, the best. I have no desire to do anything other than do stuff that increases all of our value together. Remember, I'm the longest of all the long-term investors.
All right. And you did, like you said, address that RS earlier in this call. So thank you for doing that. A lot of hate on Yahoo postings, which I'm sure you've seen. I have a sizable investment in the company and hope to hear good news. Also, if you plan to reverse split.
So first of all, I don't see the hate because I don't spend my time on unmoderated boards with, you know, anybody with an anonymous handle can go and post whatever garbage crosses their mind. So no, I have no idea. In fact, I stopped chasing the negative sentiment crap a couple years ago and it made my life better. And I wholeheartedly encourage everybody to do the same. I know that human nature draws our eyes to the train crash as opposed to the paint drying. But building a business is like, you know, closer to paint drying than it is a train crash. Train crash, I don't want to have anything to do with. Nice, stable growth, solid, consistent paint drying. That's where we want to be from an investment standpoint. That's what I want to be. Good news. I hope that you think that any of the press releases or weekly videos that we've shared are good news. If you don't think it's good news, then I don't know what else to tell you. And then I covered the RS previously, but I think we put out a lot of good news. And certainly if you compare it to any other OTC, so we should be in good shape.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll piggyback on what you said. You can't surround yourself with negative people, especially when you're in the public and you're doing stuff, and you got to stay focused, you got to stay driven, and you can't submerge yourself in the negativity of what some idiot posts on some board. You know, I used to get roped up in that too with the channel. I'm like, you know what? I ain't got time for that. You ain't got time for that. You definitely don't got time for that. You're moving and grooving.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've tried to call you and you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting on a plane. You know what I mean? So
I'm working, I'm running around. Got 100 amazing team members.
Yeah.
Lots of projects to put forward, lots of customers, lots of things to do. And, you know, somebody thinks that they post something bad on some useless website and I'm supposed to respond. Come on. You know, there's a cesspool of nonsense that swirls around everybody in the world. And, you know, the higher profile you have, the bigger the cesspool. Doesn't mean you attend to it.
Hi, Steve. Have you seen any new major competitors enter into the field?
No, sir.
There we go. There's a cut and dry answer. Let's get to the next one. We have two more questions. We're gonna go through the chat, and then I have a final challenge for you. Okay. You're doing a great job. I mean, this is it. This is live due diligence with the one and only Steve Reinharz of AITX. And you know what? He's out there. He's doing it, and you're consistent. You know, I mean, you guys are always doing your updates. You're keeping your shareholders informed, and I you know, shout out to you, man. You know. I tell a lot of people, I go, Steve's doing it the right way, I think, you know, especially when it comes to communication and transparency. And I think that's important. And I love the field that you're in. AI, it's an industry that is going to go berserk in in the next 10 years. So
we've seen it. And I feel that AITX investors that follow and ask questions and are involved, I feel that they have a leg up on other people who don't. You know, so it's very exciting. It's so rewarding across the board for me. And thank you for that, Eric. Thank you for being part of our story.
Absolutely. It looks like Rio is now the flagship product for the company. Can you speak about the next few years? What sort of market movement you expect from Rio?
Oh, you guys know I'm not good at not telling stuff. So I will say that we are going to be continuing to develop the Rio line, and it is our flagship product now. Of course, it's really Rosa. That's the flagship product, just being carried on a Rio base. But we're going to lean into that Rio format more over these next few months, working to capture different sides of the market more so than we have right now. So yeah, I love Rio. Market movement. I mean, Rio/Rosa is a driver for us. It's going to drive us to operational profitability just on Rio. You know, Avas and Rosas as well. You know, lumped into it, just get us there quicker. And then Romeo, once you start factoring in the numbers of what Romeo can do, then you're like, it's a whole nother stratosphere. So right now, building great Rios, and we'll be sharing Rio Gen 4. Probably not this month, but in August we'll have more Gen 4 information. Maybe I'll launch more information on the expansion of the Rio lineup as well. But no, love Rio, leaning in hard.
Excellent. And the last one of our pre-submitted questions: when will we be able to set a target price?
Never. That's the easiest way for me to say it. Never. You will never get a target price from me because it's illegal. And I don't want to break the rules. So target prices come from analysts, speculators, observers, people living in their mother's basement with an opinion, and everything in between. They do not come from the company.
All right. And you know what? There's actually, I'm going to get right to the chat here because I have we could do some quick answers here. I have 14 questions I'd like to pull, and if we could just blast them out, I think that'd be great. Let's get right to that. All right. When RadCam is designed, is it going to have verbal warnings to intruders? I think it should have identity verification.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I hear you regarding identity verification. It won't be included in phase 1, but I hear what you're saying, and yes, it's got more than verbal warnings. Yes.
Excellent. Nicholas Evans, has anyone tried buying AITX out?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
No intention on selling AITX. And I think there's some other questions that we didn't either get to or were scrubbed from one of the lists that you ended up going through. But I made a comment on a weekly a few weeks ago where I had said to my wife before I opened up and went on this venture, I said, babe, 3 to 5 years. And now we're 8 years in, and we kind of had a chuckle, you know, and people started getting concerned. Hey, what's going to happen? Guys, people, no intention on leaving. I just have intention on building this into a big company and growing it. We're having too much fun. I get to work with my friends that I adore, and watching them on their journey is so satisfying. I get to engage with retail investors that are hardworking folks wanting to do the best they can for their families and themselves. It's invigorating. It's exhausting. I love it. I'm nowhere near ready to stop.
All right. Willie Water, speak to preferred stock at $1,200 per share, please.
No. Next question. I can't answer that.
What are your thoughts on the company's liabilities? Because that is a big impact on a business. High liability can impede the business to grow and be competitive. Are you focusing on that as well?
Sure, certainly am. So first of all, I completely agree with you. And I've been very clear since I made this announcement in November 2023. It's very clear. You've heard me say it, I think, on this call, not as specific as this, but I've said it on other calls of ours. Number one, keep sales growing exponentially or at a high rate. That's number one. Number two, pay down debt. Pay down the liabilities. That's always been my number two. Number three is put cash in the bank. So those are the the three fundamentals that I constantly think of. So yeah, I'm certainly focusing on it. Yeah.
All right. Revenue seems to represent less than 500 units deployed. How many units are actually deployed?
We're over 500 units.
All right. So still anticipating announcing profitability in August as planned, or is that getting pushed?
Hi, Kyle. Wait for the announcement.
All right. And wait, we shall. Dropping in a hey, Steve and team from Ann Arbor.
All right. Hello, Andrew.
Shout out to you, Andrew. Here's a good one. I like this question. How much would it cost an average person to purchase a Rad Dog for home use?
Well, we don't have them available for home use, but the law enforcement, the LE2, the Rad Dog 2 LE, is going to go for $3,000 a month to qualified law enforcement agencies.
Okay. Man, maybe one of these days I'll buy a Rad Dog.
I'll guarantee you that there will be residential applications for Rad Dog in about 2 years, unless there's some,
That's cool.
strict China stuff. Yeah, but I say 24 months from now, you're gonna have to spend several $1,000s a month, a couple $1,000s a month probably at that point. Maybe $2,000, $1,500. I don't know. We'll see. But right now, Rad Dog LE is $3,000. But I'll tell you that I floated some photos of Rad Dog 2 LE. It's so cool. I got to bring in 100 of those and sell those to law enforcement.
Got it. All right. Next question here.
Thanks,
Oh,
Brian.
yeah. And Kelly O'Neill, shout out to Kelly. Good things take time. Great things take a little longer. Winners never quit and quitters never win. Keep going forward. All right. And I couldn't agree with that more.
Truth, Kelly. Thank you.
Michael Singleton. Hello, Discord member. Is AITX looking at acquisition to enhance the company?
We are. And hello, Mr. Singleton. Actually, on Friday, 2 days ago, I had a discussion. As I do, I would say on a monthly basis, there is some company that I'll poke around on a potential acquisition. 3 companies, we went pretty far down the rabbit hole. This other company on Friday was presented to me through some people that are of substance and so forth, and there was it wasn't going to fit. But yeah, I always have my eyes on the right acquisition. Always. Yeah, there's a lot of companies to buy. A lot of companies. If we're going to get where we're at, there's going to be an element of organic where we're at right now, building our base. And then really the plan is quite simple. Buy legacy companies, upgrade their technology, use their customer base, their distribution channels, and keep going.
All right. I don't know if you can answer this one. What is the cumulative payroll cost of all 98 employees, including your $3 million plus compensation?
Well, I didn't actually get paid $3 million plus. I got paid much less than most OTC CEOs. I definitely accumulated debt on the books owed to me, which I will continue to do. Doesn't mean I'm going to get paid. Yeah. So, and it begs the question, hey, what do you pay the founder, CTO, CEO, right? Who knows, right? Anyway, so certainly I watch cash flow. I'd love to get paid $3 million a year, tell you that. Cumulative payroll cost. We run payroll right now is about $550,000 a month, probably right now for payroll, including me on my salary, plus or minus $100,000.
All right. Just gonna keep going here. From Russ. I've commented on YouTube videos and Facebook posts seeking clarification on preferred shares and why the CEO's compensation is greater than the company's revenue. Would love some transparency, please. So I think you just addressed that. I know that seems to be a theme, with the question. So anything you want to say to Russ?
I mean, I just kind of talked about my compensation, like I didn't get paid that. I accrued that. I'm going to accrue more. And that's that. I mean, there's really, I've already clarified it. Seeking clarification on preferred shares, that's not a question. I don't know how to answer. Seeking clarification. Ask me the question, I'll answer it.
Yeah. Hello, Steve from Roberto. What capabilities does RADCAM have?
I'm going to announce it. It's going to come out on a proper thing where I can blast it. I am acutely aware that other competitors watch us, and I don't want to leak it in the wrong venue.
From Jeff, do you anticipate RADCAM demand approaching similar Rio demand?
Well, I mean, from a unit sales standpoint, RADCAM should far exceed Rio. If Rio was able to sell like RADCAM did, we would be printing money. There would be no debt dilution, and I would take the money owed to me. That is for sure. So RADCAM, I expect in the thousands, and Rio, I expect to get into the thousands as well. But I think it's easier for RADCAM to get there because of its price.
All right.
Thanks,
And
Jeff, by the way. I know you're a longtime guy. Thank you very much.
All right. Dark Watcher, are the 100 dogs going to be out before the end of next quarter?
Unlikely. Very unlikely. But thanks, Dark Watcher. I like our conversations.
And the last one I pulled from the chat was Patriot Zero. AITX and Elon should meet up.
Hello, Patriot Zero. Yeah. I mean, Elon is, he's something else. He's on a whole nother level. He has had massive influence on the business world, on technology world, on social elements. I think he is a quite an amazing person.
Oh yeah. He's one of my favorite people to watch. Absolutely. So I want his success. It's really remarkable that he, the work he's doing with NASA, and he's bringing their game up. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like sort of stagnant before, but then you get that guy in there, and he, like you said, he's on a whole different level.
Hey,
Elon level.
Does such a good job of also like enabling folks like me who want to disrupt, who want to break the rules, who want to, challenge Wall Street, and be open. And, I mean, if Elon wasn't as open and communicative as he is, I don't know if I would be able to. Right? He set the standard.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was very, very informative session. Like seriously, a lot was discussed, but you can't leave yet. I want to do a fire round with you. You have a great personality. So, Rob, let's get going.
What is a fire round
with Mr. All right, this is what we're going to do. You have 2 minutes to answer 10 questions. There will be an 11th question, which is a bonus. And you guys, the viewer, whoever, when he gets to that bonus, I want you to just type in contest at bfccontest@gmail.com, and I'll send you some stuff from Buffalo.
Hey, we'll send you some red gear too.
All right, cool. We'll do some AITX stuff too. We'll do like a dual pack. So the email is bfccontest@gmail.com. Are you ready?
No, because I don't know what the fire round is.
You don't, but you have to get them down in under 2 minutes.
Okay, so you're just going to ask me questions and I just got to answer?
That's it. And these questions will not have the SEC banging down your door, I promise. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Set that timer, Rob. All right. Chicken wings, blue cheese or ranch?
Neither. Barbecue.
What is the greatest risk you have ever taken?
For being persistent on AITX.
Got it. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Seeing the future.
Good. If you could sit with a world-famous CEO, who would it be and why?
It'd probably be Bill Gates. Simply because he's had such aggressive business strategies in the 80s and 90s that I want to mimic. He had great vision, and he set the stage for what the world runs on today.
Awesome. Will there be a complete reliance on AI in the next 20 years?
In the next 12 months.
What is the worst song ever?
Opening song to the BFC. Sorry.
I'll count it.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is the greatest invention ever created so far?
Oh. I would start with the six simple machines.
If you could invite 3 people to dinner, living or dead, who would they be?
Oh, wow. Fast answer.
Or
How
9
about my
seconds.
timing? How many questions left?
3.
Pass. Can I pass?
He hits pass. I'll let him off the. All right. What is your greatest business skill?
Leadership.
If you could take only one rad product global, which one would it be and why?
Romeo, because it offers so much safety and security protection services.
Bonus. What TV movie character are you most like and why?
I don't know if I'm most like him, but I get inspiration from Robert Downey Jr.'s version of Iron Man.
Right on. And I love that. Love that movie. Love that
I want
character.
the 3 seconds back. Like, listen to the next question.
That is it, man. You made it. I had some leniency there. But that's okay. That's okay. But you know, guys, whoever the first one is to email me at there it is, the Roaring Cheers BFC contest at gmail.com. This is great. It's always fun to do a fire round. You know, you get some insights into your guests with their answers.
That was fun, Eric. That was really fun.
And you know what the question I think is tough is like who are 3 people you would sit in a round table with? Like, I've had some good answers to that question. So
have you? The dinner
that's a tough one.
also,
I don't think I could answer that in a fire round.
Yeah, the dinner one was tough too. You know, I went with Gates just because, like, man, I mean, he has set the stage for the 4th industrial revolution. So, and I know he's gone through so many challenges, and he's gone through disruptive, and he's walked so many shoes. So anyway, yeah, that'd be my guy.
Wow. All right. So I want to take this opportunity. Thank you to the entire AITX community, all the AITX employees, the management team, and special shout out to Doug. And I also want to thank my producer, Rob. Shout out to Anthony DeVideo. And I'd also like to thank Steve Reinharz. You were an awesome guest. I am so glad you were able to come on the show and share your passion with your shareholders and the community.
I always love it, Eric. Thank you so much. This was so fun, as it always is. I say this sincerely. I look forward to our next one together.
Awesome. That's all I got today. Hey, if you're in the Discord, we have a meeting at 2:00. So get there. And that's all I got. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And remember, there is more that binds us than breaks us. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.